The silk beneath my fingers was perfect, hand-dyed indigo from an ancient Japanese family workshop, each ripple in the fabric telling the story centuries old. In 12 hours, my cousins would try to push me out of our family's design firm. In 13 hours, they'd learn why some traditions are worth protecting. I'm Amara Chen, and at 36, I was about to lose my position as creative director of Chen Design Group. Or so my cousins thought. They're gathering downstairs. My assistant, Kai, reported from the doorway of my private studio. The whole digital team is preparing their presentation for tomorrow. I carefully folded the silk, placing it back in its cedar box. Let them prepare. Some things can't be replicated with algorithms and AI. Our family's design firm had stood at the intersection of East and West for 3 generations. My grandfather had started it with nothing but a sketchbook and a dream, building it into one of the most respected names in luxury design. But my cousins, Jackson and Emily, had other ideas about the future. The traditional market is dying. They'd announced 6 months ago, launching their digital design division. Nobody wants hand-drawn designs anymore. It's all about rapid prototyping, AI-generated patterns, digital everything. One by one, they'd poach my clients, dazzling them with quick turnarounds and flashy presentations. Traditional luxury brands that had worked with us for decades were suddenly enchanted by promises of design automation and algorithmic trending. Amara, Kai's voice pulled me from my thoughts. Mr. Tanaka's office called again. They want to confirm tomorrow's presentation time. I smiled, thinking of the secret project I'd been working on for the past year. Tell them we're ready. Everything is exactly as planned. The next morning, I arrived early at our downtown showroom. The annual design showcase was our biggest event of the year, where we presented our latest collections to major clients. This year, my cousins have made sure their digital team dominated the main floor. Looking a bit empty on your side, Emily noted with false sympathy, gesturing to my traditional design section. The walls that usually display my hand-painted silk designs were notably bare. Quality over quantity, I replied, adjusting a single frame that held what appeared to be a simple indigo pattern. Jackson laughed, running a hand through his perfectly styled hair. Quality? The market wants speed and innovation. Right, everyone? His digital team nodded enthusiastically, their tablets and laptops creating a wall of screens around them. They prepared hundreds of designs, all generated by their proprietary AI system. The showroom filled quickly with clients and industry professionals. I watched as Jackson and Emily worked the room, showing off their digital platform's capabilities. Look how quickly we can generate variations. Full customization at the click of a button. Analytics-driven design solutions. I stayed quiet, waiting. At exactly 10 a.m., the main doors opened to admit Mr. Tanaka and his delegation from Kimura Technologies. The Japanese tech giant had been our client for 2 decades, but lately they'd been wavering, attracted by my cousin's digital promises. Ah, Mr. Tanaka. Jackson rushed forward. Wait until you see what our eye can do with your brand aesthetic. Mr. Tanaka bowed politely, but his eyes searched the room until they found me. I bowed in return, deeper and more traditionally correct. His slight smile told me he'd noticed. Perhaps, he said carefully, we could see all the options. Of course, Emily jumped in. Our digital team has prepared hundreds of designs. We can show you real-time modifications, trend analysis. And you, Ms. Chen. Mr. Tanaka turned to me. What have you prepared? I gestured to the single frame on my wall. Something a little different, if you'll indulge me. My cousin smirked as I led the delegation to my display. The single design appeared deceptively simple, an indigo wave pattern that seemed to shift as you moved. Traditional indigo dyeing. Mr. Tanaka leaned closer. But there's something. I touched a hidden panel, and the wall slid open, revealing my private studio beyond. The delegation gasped collectively. Inside, illuminated by careful lighting, was a collection that represented a year of work. Silk panels hung from ceiling to floor, each one a masterpiece of traditional dyeing techniques merged with cutting-edge technology. Conductive threads woven into ancient patterns created displays that responded to touch. Temperature-sensitive dyes transformed classical designs into living art. This is, Mr. Tanaka touched one panel reverently. The pattern rippled under his fingers, digital elements seamlessly blending with the hand-dyed silk. How did you achieve this? By respecting both tradition and innovation, I explained. activating more panels. Each piece is hand-dyed by master artisans in Japan, using techniques passed down for generations. Then we incorporate specialized threads and reactive elements, creating a fusion of old and new. The entire delegation moved through my studio in awe. These weren't just designs, they were a bridge between centuries of tradition and the digital future. The wave patterns, Mr. Tanaka noted, studying one piece, they match the energy flow diagrams from our new quantum computing project. Yes, I smiled. I study your technology, Mr. Tanaka, not to replicate it, but to understand its essence. These designs don't just look like your innovations, they embody their spirit. Jackson pushed forward. But our AI can generate thousands of variations on this theme in minutes. Can it understand the cultural significance of every shade of indigo? I asked quietly, can it feel the difference between silk dyed in winter or summer? Can it respect the traditions while embracing the future? Mr. Tanaka turned to face my cousins. Your digital work is impressive. Very efficient. But Ms. Chen has created something we didn't even know we were looking for. A way to honor our heritage while showcasing our innovation. Emily's face paled. But the cost, the time involved, is precisely the point, Mr. Tanaka interrupted. True luxury isn't about speed or quantity. It's about dedication, understanding, and respect for both tradition and progress. He bowed to me again. Ms. Chen, we would like to commission an entire collection for our new global headquarters, all 50 stories. The room went silent. It would be the largest single commission in our firm's history. Of course, he continued, we understand this will take time. Art cannot be rushed. Shall we say, 2 years for completion? I bowed in return. We would be honored, Mr. Tanaka. As the delegation moved through the rest of my collection, I caught sight of my cousins huddled with their digital team, faces shocked and angry. They thought they were pushing me out of the industry. Instead, they pushed me to create something entirely new. Kai appeared at my elbow with a familiar cedar box. Perfect timing, he murmured. I opened the box, revealing one final piece of silk. Mr. Tanaka, there's something else I'd like to show you. Something that might interest your quantum computing division. The silk shifted in the light, revealing patterns that seemed to move of their own accord. Traditional techniques meeting bleeding-edge technology in a dance of innovation and respect. Sometimes I thought, watching Mr. Tanaka's face light up with understanding, the best response to being pushed aside isn't to push back. It's to rise above, creating something so extraordinary that it renders the entire competition irrelevant. My grandfather had understood that. Now, looking at my work through Mr. Tanaka's eyes, I knew I did too. The day after the showcase, I arrived at my studio to find it already humming with activity. News of the Kimura Technologies Commission had spread through the design world like wildfire. Our phones hadn't stopped ringing since Mr. Tanaka's delegation left. The Financial Times wants an interview, Kay reported, juggling multiple tablets. And 3 luxury brands have requested private viewings of the collection. Also, your cousins called an emergency board meeting for noon. Of course they did, I murmured, running my fingers over a silk panel. The conductive threads responded to my touch, creating ripples of light through the ancient patterns. How's the stock price? Up 20% since the market opened. The Kimura Commission is bigger than anyone expected. I nodded, remembering my grandfather's words in design. As in life, true innovation doesn't destroy tradition, it elevates it. The board meeting was exactly what I'd expected. Jackson and Emily sat together, their digital team's reports spread before them like shields. This is about the future of Chen Design Group, Jackson began. While we appreciate Amara's artistic achievement, we can't base our entire strategy on handcrafted pieces that take years to complete. Our digital platform can serve hundreds of clients simultaneously, Emily added. We need to focus on scalability. I let them continue, watching the other board members' reactions. Most were family elders who remembered my grandfather, who understood what our name meant in the design world. Are you finished? I asked when they paused for breath. Without waiting for an answer, I opened my laptop. Let me show you something interesting. The projection screen filled with numbers, client data, market analysis, profit margins. These are the results from our traditional design division over the past decade. Average profit margin, 68%. Client retention rate, 92%. Brand value ranking, top 5 globally. I clicked to the next slide. And these are your digital division's numbers from the past 6 months. Profit margin, 12%. Client retention, 40%. And our brand value ranking has dropped to 20th. But our revenue is higher. Jackson protested. We're serving more clients. At the cost of our reputation, I countered. You're turning Chen Design Group into a fast fashion factory for corporate logos. Is that what grandfather built this company for? The eldest board member, Aunt Wei, spoke up. What do you propose, Amara? I stood moving to the center of the room. Not elimination, evolution. Yes, digital tools have their place, but not as replacements for human creativity and traditional craftsmanship. As enhancements. I pulled up images of my studio collection. Every piece in the Kimura Commission will combine traditional techniques with cutting-edge technology. Not because we're forcing innovation, but because we're finding genuine ways for the old and new to work together. The market, Emily began, is changing, I finished, but not the way you think. In a world of mass production and AI-generated content, true luxury means something handcrafted, something that carries human touch and understanding, something that can't be replicated by algorithms. I shared more data, market research showing growing demand for authentic craft combined with innovation, client feedback praising our traditional work's quality and uniqueness. And finally, the numbers that made everyone sit up straight. Projected revenue from the Kimura Commission alone would exceed our digital division's annual earnings. So what happens to our digital team? Jackson asked, his voice tight. They stay, I replied, but with a new mission. Instead of replacing traditional design, they'll enhance it. Imagine AI that helps us research cultural patterns and meanings. Digital tools that let clients visualize how hand-dyed silk will look in different lights. Technology that serves craftsmanship instead of supplanting it. The discussion lasted hours. By the end, even my cousins had to admit the logic was undeniable. Chen Design Group would remain true to its roots while embracing genuine innovation. Not for innovation's sake, but in service of creating something truly extraordinary. Over the next few months, our company transformed. The digital team, free from the pressure to replace traditional design, found exciting ways to support and enhance our craftwork. Jackson's programming skills proved invaluable in developing tools to visualize complex pattern interactions. Emily's eye for trends helped us identify which traditional techniques would resonate most strongly with modern clients. 6 months after the showcase, Mr. Tanaka visited again to check our progress. The studio had expanded, now occupying an entire floor. Traditional artisans worked alongside digital experts, each respecting the other's skills. Remarkable, he said, watching a master dyer work with a digital color analyst to create the perfect shade of indigo. You've managed to honor both the past and the future. It's what my grandfather always intended, I replied. He used to say that tradition isn't about keeping the ashes, it's about passing on the fire. The Kimura Commission progressed ahead of schedule. Each piece told a story, of ancient craft meeting quantum computing, of human hands working in harmony with digital precision, of tradition and innovation dancing together in perfect balance. 1 year into the project, I found Jackson in my studio late one night, studying one of the completed panels. I was wrong, he said quietly. I thought progress meant replacing the old with the new. But this, he gestured to the silk, where conductive threads created patterns that mirrored Kimura's latest technological breakthrough. This is actual progress. Emily joined us more gradually, her marketing expertise finding new ways to tell her story to the world. Luxury isn't dead, she admitted one day. It just needed to evolve authentically, not artificially. 2 years later, we'd unveiled the completed Kimura Commission. 50 stories of architectural art, each floor featuring designs that married centuries-old techniques with bleeding-edge technology. The global press called it a masterpiece. The design world hailed it as a revolution in corporate aesthetics. But my favorite response came from an unexpected source. In my grandfather's old office, now a small museum of company history, I found Jackson and Emily showing their children the original designs. Your great-grandfather started with just this, Emily was saying, showing them his worn sketchbook. He knew that great design wasn't about following trends. It was about creating something meaningful. Something that lasts, Jackson added, touching the framed silk samples on the wall. I watched from the doorway, thinking about legacy and evolution. My cousins had tried to force our company into the future by abandoning its past. Instead, we found a way to carry our heritage forward, making it stronger and more relevant than ever. Later that evening, alone in my studio, I opened the cedar box that had started it all. The original indigo silk seemed to shimmer in the fading light. Next to it lay my grandfather's final note to me, found after his passing. Dearest Amara, remember that true innovation doesn't come from discarding the old ways, but from understanding why they endured. Your hands hold both our past and our future. Trust them to find the right path. With love and faith, Grandfather. I closed the box gently, looking out over the city lights. Somewhere out there, 50 stories of silk and circuitry were telling our story to the world. Not just the story of Chen Design Group, but the story of how tradition and innovation could make each other stronger. My phone buzzed. Another luxury brand requesting a consultation. They'd seen the Kimura project and wanted something similar for their flagship store. But not too similar, of course. Every piece we created was unique, a singular fusion of past wisdom and future vision. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new opportunities to bridge old and new. But tonight, in a studio where digital screens sat comfortably beside ancient dying bats, I knew we'd found our path forward. After all, the best revenge against those who would erase tradition isn't to reject progress. It's to prove that the future belongs to those who can honor the past while embracing change. Not with fear or force, but with wisdom, respect, and the patience to let true innovation emerge naturally from the meeting of old and new. In the end, my cousins had been right about one thing. Our industry was evolving. They'd just been wrong about what that evolution would look like. Sometimes the most powerful change isn't about replacing what came before. It's about transforming it into something even more extraordinary. And that's exactly what we'd done, one silk panel at a time.